Alright guys, my name is Goblin and today I'm going to be giving you my fast vanilla leveling guide for the Warlock class. Just before I jump in, be sure to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat. They're basically going to be the two main social media outlets I'm using for this channel. I won't be using anything else anymore. But anyway, let's jump into what sections we're going to go through in this video. First of all, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an intro of what Warlocks are all about. I'm going to be giving you these three essential add-ons which you definitely need to install because they're literally going to take days off your total playtime to level 60. Thirdly, we're going to be going through a talent build. The talent build I think is most optimal for leveling, for decreasing your leveling speed. And then we'll go through gameplay, you know, how to kill things fast, how to manage your mana, how to make sure you have no downtime, how to skip mobs, how to escape mobs, how to survive, how to not get ganked, all that kind of thing. Fifthly, maybe. Then we're talking about gearing, what stats to go for when you're choosing your gear pieces, what things to buy for the auction house, what quest rewards to accept. We'll be going through, you know, I've got a really detailed wand path for you guys because obviously wands are very important. You need to be upgrading your wand very regularly when you're leveling, and I've got a very good wand path for you to follow, which is going to be very useful. I'll be going through all the massively useful Warlock quests and the ones that you can skip. And lastly, we'll just go through what spells that you need to learn, and the spells that you need to rank up, and the ones that you can basically miss so you can save on your pennies. So let me introduce you to Warlock. Warlock is basically the best leveling spec in the game, okay? The only reason why it's slower than Hunter is because of the aspect of a cheater. You know, Hunters are basically just a little bit faster at moving around lower level. That's literally the only reason why. If it was any other, if Warlock had aspect of a cheater, they would definitely be the fastest leveler in the game. They are just literally indestructible, guys. They have absolutely no downtime. They have a big tank which just takes all your damage away, and he's completely immortal. After every pull he just heals himself to full health with Consume Shadows. And even when you do take damage, you've got loads of spells to keep your health high. And you basically just don't stop for anything. You are literally unstoppable, right? If you're stopping between pulls as a Warlock, you're doing something wrong, okay? So let's run through some add-ons for our second section. I think the two essential add-ons you want to go for is the Vanilla Guide and the Metamap. Okay, I'll show them on the screen right now. Vanilla Guide is really the add-on to go for, guys. It gives you a little menu, it's kind of like a little book on the screen, and it gives you, you know, step-by-step instructions of what quests to do in what order, what mobs to kill in what order, and what path to take when it comes to leveling. And it's basically the fastest leveling route, you know, possible in the game. And it also has great integration with the add-on Metamap. So basically, it will tell you, it has like little notes when you click on certain sections of the vanilla guide. It will appear on the minimap, well, not the minimap, the big map basically, and have a little note telling you precisely where to go. Another really great thing about this add-on is basically how it tells you to do stuff in preparation. So for instance, there's a quest chain in the Badlands where you have to get all these items from the auction house, like frost oil, potions, and some kind of engineering thing. And what the add-on will tell you to do is basically buy all of the auction house before you go there. So I went into the Badlands, I went to do this quest line, and I just kept on turning the quest in instantly. I did this entire quest line instantly, got like 20,000 XP, and you know, it was pretty dope. So I like how it prepares you for things, so you don't have to keep running through, you know, back and forth towards to certain locations. The add-on you want in sync with these add-ons is PF Quest. You can also get PF UI, which is an interface add-on, which I do quite like, but it's not essential. PF Quest, the great thing about this is obviously it tells you exactly where to go for all your quests, but the best thing about it is how it's basically displays all the spawn locations on the map for every single mob. So say for instance you're killing the Black Panthers for Panther Mastery, it will tell you all the spawn locations, so you can just keep running between all the spawn locations, and it will massively decrease your leveling time because you know exactly where to go, you know, without having to look on, you know, online for instance. So let's don't know why I said that. Let's go through my leveling build. My leveling build is a bit different to most conventional guides on the internet. Most conventional guides are going to tell you to get Drain Soul, improve Drain Soul as fast as possible. Honestly guys, I'm level 40 now, and I'm over level 40. I've never used Drain Soul, I never benefited from this. You simply do not use enough mana when leveling to really justify the need for Drain Soul, in my opinion, because you can just life tap and you're good to go, because you're only going to be doing like 2 dots on a target maybe a few other things, and then you're going to be wanding, so you really don't use that much mana, and I don't really feel that improved Drained Soul is justified, because one, it's kind of a pain in the backside to get the effect anyway, because you need to take your pet off a target, and it kind of slows down the finishing of the mod, the execute phase. So I just definitely recommend going for it. What I recommend, this is how I level. Basically, the first phase, you can choose between stacking Demonic Embrace or getting improved Health Stone and the Imp. The Imp's going to be useful for dungeons. The Health Stone, it's really just preference. The reason why I go for specific talents, because when in the later levels it scales very well, and it's going to get you roughly like an extra life tap out of this talent, so that's why I go for it. The main thing that isn't really justified, isn't up for debate really, is improved Void Walker. You're going to have to get improved Void Walker. Especially when you get past level 20, it gets very difficult for the Void Walker to hold aggro, so this is going to increase the effectiveness of his taunt spell, all his taunt spells by 30%. It also increases the Consume Shadows effect, which is basically when he's out of combat, he starts draining his mana into health, so it's going to reduce the amount of time you have to wait for your Void Walker to top his health up. Then I'm going to go for Improved Corruption maxed out. A lot of people don't like to do this, they like to go for 2 points of suppression. I don't really see the point. What we're going to do is we're going to max these both out straight away. Improved Corruption, it's going to save 1 second on every pull, and over like 200 pulls, that's 200 seconds, so just go for Improved Corruption. Max out Suppression, especially as you get to this level, level 27. And around this level you might be taking on higher level mobs, so Suppression is pretty essential. From here, Improved Life Tap. We'll talk about Life Tap a little bit later in the stats section, but yeah, the extra 20% is very useful. And we're going to stack that even higher with Shadow Damage, because Shadow Damage increases the effectiveness of Life Tap, but we'll talk about that later. From there, you want just improved Curse Agony, you can't really fault it. Grim Reach, basically Grim Reach is going to get you into combat faster, you can't really fault it, it's going to reduce your leveling time. Here, really, you have a choice. Most people go for Nightfall. Honestly, I would not go for Nightfall. The reason why is because the instant Shadow Bolt proc from Nightfall always pulls aggro, and it's really irritating. I personally don't go for it. I think the best thing to go for here, honestly, is Fell Corruption. Obviously get Siphon Life when you can get it. Forget Fell Concentration, because you will get into a number of situations where basically it's just you and one mob, and you have to body tank the mob because your Void Walker's dead, and you're trying to survive with a Drain Life, but your Drain Life is just getting rinsed into the ground because you can't, because the cast is being reduced by melee hits. And this will save your life more than a few times while leveling up, so I definitely recommend maxing out on Fell Concentration. Then just dump a point and Drain Life. Obviously you need Amplify Curse as well. Amplify Curse is basically going to increase your Curse of Agony damage by a massive portion. Right now it increases my damage of Curse of Agony by about 200 points, which is really nice. So if you're in those situations where you need to kill a mob very fast, if you've pulled too many mobs for instance, or you're taking down a boss for a quest, it's definitely going to be useful to increase your single target damage. And then obviously just max out Shadow Mastery, and then here you're going to go back into the Demonology tree. It doesn't really matter where you go, it's more like preference. The only, you can go for a tankier, stockier Void Walker, or you can just go to convenience of Fell Domination. But the essential talent here is to finish off 54 to 56 with Unholy Power, because Unholy Power is just a basically simple flat damage increase, and you can't really fault it. And that's pretty much it. So let's talk about the gameplay. What do you do in a day-to-day basis of taking down mobs and questing? Best thing to do is open with Curse of Agony and Corruption, and then just simply spam your wand. And that's pretty much the go-to way to level as a Warlock. You're not going to spend a lot of mana, you're going to do a lot of damage, and you'll never pull aggro off the Void Walker. Sometimes you can Shadow Bolt, okay? Sometimes I do spam Shadow Bolt, if I've got the mana to do it, I will do it. But on high level mobs, you're definitely going to pull aggro, and lower level mobs, you probably finish the mob before it even gets to you. So, sometimes you can Shadow Bolt, just kind of test it out, and see what you can do. The best thing you can do is set up a PetAttack and follow macro. This is very essential. So, I have a PetAttack macro, key binder to key R, and PetFollow macro to key F. So basically what I do is if I've gone into a fight, there's a mob attacking me, I don't want to body tank a mob, I'll get the Void Walker to manually attack all the mobs, so he pulls aggro of all the mobs. He can tank about 2 to 3 mobs quite fine. The lower levels 2 mobs, high levels 3 mobs. But you might need to fear the third, or you definitely will need to fear a 4th mob if you're really, taking down 4 mobs at once. You can also use this macro to basically skip mobs, so you command the Void Walker to attack the mob, while you're running through a zone. And it's really easy. You just get all the mobs in that zone or in that area to attack your Void Walker. It would daze your Void Walker and not you, so you don't get dazed, so you can just progress through the zone at a faster rate. Use it to you can also you can also use it to escape. So if you're trying to run away from a mob, like get your Void Walker to attack it, then maybe you will need to pop a sacrifice on the Void Walker. So and obviously there isn't really any other pet that you can use other than the Void Walker. I wouldn't recommend using anything else. Second thing I've got here is basically to use life tap between pulls. You won't need to life tap that much, but you just use it to maintain your mana. You don't really need a lot of mana to keep yourself in the game. So sometimes I open, I've just started a quest, I'm going to spam my Shadow Bolts, and I'm going to drain my mana completely. But what I'll do, if I want to carry on going, I don't want to stop and drink just so I can cast Shadow Bolts again. I will get enough mana back with life tap so I can carry on dotting and wanding. Okay, and I'll just follow the dot wand rotation until I've finished whatever quest I'm doing. And always level up first aid, obviously, to minimize your downtime. One light bandage will get you like half your mana back if you spam life tap, so you can't complain with that. And obviously other essentials, I would recommend always stacking a few soul shards. Never go low on soul shards. Always have a health stone and a soul stone created, and obviously have a soul stone active on your character. So let's talk about gearing. The way I gear is very different to the way most people gear. Because of this one discovery I randomly made when I was going through a Scarlet Monastery run. Basically, I had a shadow damage head armor piece on, and what I did is I took it off, and I noticed that my life tap started giving me less mana. And then I realised that the amount of mana that you get from life tap actually scales with shadow damage. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Because as a Warlock you get a free mount at level 40, you can basically, and you should be, buying items from the auction house. Okay, until about level 30 I would recommend stacking intellect just for a huge mana pool, so you can spam those shadow bolts and basically never need to drink. You don't need to drink anyway as a Warlock, but like having a high intellect on the lower levels is useful because it basically means you can be a bit more reckless with your mana and you can cast more shadow bolts. Basically at level 30 I had like over 3000 mana, at level 40 I have 2500, so I actually had more mana at level 30 and it was very useful. But when you get past level 30, basically more shadow damage gear will become available to you, and you should definitely start buying it as soon as possible. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have any other stats on. Stack as much shadow damage as possible, or magic damage, or alternative. Right now, I'm stacking over 100 bonus shadow damage at about level 40. So this means each of my dots, Curse of Agony and Corruption, do about 100 extra damage. Okay, so if you put it into perspective, Corruption does about 200 damage normally, just over 200. Curse of Agony about 350. So what I'm doing is like when a normal Warlock puts his dots on, he puts Curse of Agony and Corruption up, but when I put my dots up, basically the combined bonus damage of both Curse of Agony and Corruption is going to be about 200 damage, over 200 damage, which is like another Corruption in itself. So when I put all my dots up, it's like I'm putting up 2 Corruptions on the target because I'm getting that much extra damage. And yeah, and also obviously it increases the amount of mana you pull from life tap it doesn't affect the amount of health you pull. So yeah, you just get way more mana back from life tap, way more dot damage, and the great thing about dot damage is it doesn't pull that much aggro, so you can do really high dot damage and 1 damage without pulling aggro. And then when you do need to shadow bolt, they just hit like a truck, like mine are hitting over 300 damage, like non-crit right now, so that's also nice. The second stat I would recommend prioritizing is stamina. Not entirely. What I'd recommend doing is stacking enough stamina to get yourself an extra life tap. So if your life tap consumes 200 health, that means you need 20 stamina. Okay, because 1 point of stamina increases your health by 10. If your life tap takes about 400 health, you need an extra 40 stamina. Now that, for me, is like the sweet spot, because you want that extra life tap. If you have too little health, basically you're spamming life tap and your health just disappears and it goes, and you don't really get that much mana back. So I'd recommend stacking a little bit of stamina. For instance, I have a high stamina sword. So I'd recommend stacking a few high. You probably need a couple of high stamina pieces to go with the gear, just so you get that extra little bit of life tap. You don't completely drain your health away when you life tap. And apart from that, the stat to stack after that is obviously intellect. Full intellect pieces are Very useful, again, just to get your mana pool high, but again, you know, we don't really need that much mana anyway, so... And that's why Spirit is kind of meh, because you have Life Tap. Well, Life Tap is your Spirit, so you don't... In my opinion, a few other people I've seen making guides really talking about how good Spirit is. In my opinion, I don't do Spirit, I just don't do it. I have Life Tap, I drain my health with Spirit Life Tap and I'm good to go. Like, I've never needed that much mana, I've never needed that much Spirit, so I just don't do it. The second very important thing to note when it comes to gearing is the wand, okay? You always need to be upgrading your wand. It's going to be one of the primary sources of your damage. Especially at the lower levels, a good wand can literally out-damage spamming Shadow Bolt if you're not stacking shadow damage. So, I have a little bit of a wand path here. You have to look up these wands yourself, basically on the Classic database. I'll link that in the description. In fact, I might just link all the wands in the description. So, you know, these wands are from, some of them you can very quickly buy from the auction house, some of them are from quests, and some of them are from dungeons, so you have to make the call whether you want to run a dungeon a few times to get the, you know, the wand, or you can just go for the guaranteed quest rewards or auction house items. So, first of all, recommend getting the Lesser Magic Wand. That's going to last you for a good few levels. You can just very quickly buy that off the auction house. So that's stage 1. Stage 2, you're going to go for Fire Belcher for the Wailing, which is from the Wailing Cavern, so that's a good horde option. Or you can go for Cookie Stirring Rod in the Dead Mines, which is a good alliance option. Or if you just, you know, don't want to do dungeons, go for the Greater Magic Wand, which you can very quickly buy from the auction house. Stage 3, this is when you get in like to the 30 DPS zone nearly. I would recommend going for Gravestone Scepter. That's a guaranteed BFD quest, so you just do BFD once and you get a guaranteed quest reward. Definitely recommend doing it, it's worth it. If you get off a quest for BFD, you're not going to reduce your leveling time. And then apart from that, you got Captain Rackamore's Tiller. Again, these two ones will last you a long time. Obviously the Gravestone one will last you a lot longer because you get it earlier. But this second one is a Desolus quest from a treasure chest in Desolus, so yeah, recommend doing that. Stage 4, this is when you get into like 32 to 33 DPS zone. Go for the Burning Sliver if you're on Alliance. Very quickly get it from your Arathi Highlands. Very easy quest. You've got the Gnomish Zapper, which is for both factions in this really cool questing zone in the Arathi Highlands. Basically these pirate ships, and you've got to do a few quests for them. So that's a good option. You also got the Dancing Flame, which is slightly better than the other two options, and that's in 1,000 Needles, but that's only a horde quest. Stage 5, you've got the Umbral Auction House, the Umbral Wand, which I've actually just personally bought off the auction house very cheaply. Can't complain. Apart from that, you've got a Charged Lightning Rod, which is not a quest you can get from Searing Gorge. And then another option is a Chill Nail Splinter, which is a horde quest in Dustwallow Marsh. Quite a long chest and it ends with a group quest, but you know, you've got that option. You might just want to buy the one off the auction house, but the second two options are slightly better. Stage 3, you got Cairnstone Sliver, Alliance quest in Feralus. Very long quest line though. It's probably worth doing though, you know, it's a good amount of XP. For the horde, you've got the Nature's Breath, which is in the Hinterlands. And then you've also got the Ivory Wand, which you can buy at the auction house, but it's slightly worse than the other two options. Stage 7, this is when you pretty much get into the end game kind of level. You've got the Wizard's Hand, you can very quickly buy that off the auction house, or you've got a Rod of Corrosion, which you can get like very low, in the low 50s from Sunken Temple, and that will last you very easily till level 60. So, last thing to talk about in the gearing section is the worthy class quests that you want to go for. A lot of them you can skip. You don't really need to do the demon quest lines, you know, because you're only going to use the Void Walker. First quest I recommend doing is Knowledge of the Orb of Urahil. Basically, you know, you get the orb. You get the orb at the end of the quest line, not the staff. This will last you easily until level 60 because of the shadow damage. It also has a unique effect where in the lower levels it's very useful because every 30 minutes you basically get all of your health back. Your full entire health pull back with one click. It regenerates your health over time, which basically every 30 minutes you got a full life tap spam. So you get all your health back and then you get all your mana back. So yeah, every 30 minutes you can fill your mana pool with this trinket, so it's very useful. Another one is an Imp's Request. Obviously you get level 50, get the trinket. This is very useful for basically until the Burning Crusade. Every half an hour, which is pretty much every half an hour basically you get a free cast on your Void Walker. It doesn't cost a soul shard or any mana, and yeah, I mean probably basically every time you're gonna have to resummon your Void Walker because you've died, you could be able to use this trinket instead. So that's definitely gonna save you a lot of mana because you won't have to life tap after you've resurrected. So yeah, just that'll save a little bit of time every time that you resurrect. The last section I've got here, basically I'm going to go through the spells that are worth picking up and ranking up, and the ones that are kind of not. Well, obviously the ones I don't mention, the ones that aren't worth getting. So first spell, Corruption, obviously. Curse of Agony, Siphon Life, Life Tap, Shadow Bolt, Demon Armor, Soulstone, Healthstone, Fear and Howl of Terror. Those are the essential ones that you absolutely have to get and rank up every single time. The other ones are less essential, but you probably will need them. You know, Ritual Summoning, obviously, to get to dungeons faster. You got the Eye of Kilrog, has its uses. Sense Demons will be useful in a few quests. You got Banish, which is very useful actually, you should rank that up over time. Hellfire is useful in a few dungeons. Shadow War is going to be useful when you're getting ganked by Warlocks and Shadow Priests. Deathcall, another Fear, can't complain with another Fear to best CC in the game. And then last choice really, you got Enslaved Demon. It can be fun, I'd always recommend experimenting with it. You know, if you're killing a demon for a quest, always recommend having a little bit of mess around with Enslaved Demon, because sometimes the Enslaved Demon can do a ridiculous amount of damage, or provide some weird buff advantage, because sometimes some of them have buffs and you can put that buff on yourself, so always experiment with Enslaved Demon, it can be interesting sometimes. Anyway guys, that's it for me. I think I've talked enough. On the screen right now you're probably going to see very similar videos to this one, so be sure to check them out. But until next time, my name is Medagoblin, so my next video, ciao.